Yes, let's indeed call the meeting to order. Happy New Year to everyone. Nice to have you back with us, Pat. And I think we have everybody here. We have an interesting agenda, lots of reports, and I've just lost mine, but it'll come back very quickly. There we go. Anyone have anything they want to add or correct with the agenda? Okay, I'm obliged to ask if anyone needs to disclose a pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And I don't think there's anything here that will cause that to happen. You've had a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting, which was December 1. Do we have a consensus that that we approve of them and can move on from that? Not hearing any loud voices, I'll assume that's a done deal then as well. In part 5, we have a few information items, and Pat, I believe you're number 1. We're going to hear about the Haylock Youngblood development agreement, and look forward to seeing and hearing this, Pat.
Great, thank you. Yep, I was just printing off my notes because I realized I needed 3 screens and I don't have 3 screens. So the Haylock Youngblood subdivision is just off South River Road in Elora. And it is a large brand new subdivision. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen, right? Devlin, you told me this wouldn't be hard to do. I'm going to go to, what am I looking for to do?
Be just at the bottom of the screen, the green button. The hardest part is finding it.
The big giant green sign that says share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So Devlin's just going to allow me to do this.
Should be good now.
Okay. Tell me if you can see anything.
We can.
Okay. I kind of lose everybody's on the call, so we'll just shout if you have something to say, because I can't see everybody while I have this shared. So what you're seeing here is 2 subdivisions. The left one here is Haylock, and then this is Youngblood, and together they are working together to offer the parks for both. The parks will share service both subdivisions. And this work has been going on for 2 years with staff and developers and the landscape architect. So there's been a long process here while we have developed these parks. Consulting landscape architect works with the developers and prepares park designs. I'm just going to give you some background how these parks get designed and paid for and everything in new subdivisions. So the consulting landscape architect is paid for by the developer and works with staff as well as the developers to put together concept plans, and then pulls that together into a park development plan. There's a certain percentage of parkland that must be allocated in every new subdivision along with the Planning Act towards parks. So that is how land is allocated and then given to the township to own, and then parks are developed. We have a parkland development agreement, which is going to go to council at the end of this month. And this is a bit of their presentation I wanted to share with you today. So the agreement is structured that the developer will build the parks on behalf of the township, because how it used to happen was the whole subdivision would be completed, and then it would be all turned over to the township, and then we would build the parks. And it would take years and years after people had moved in for the parks to come to life. So this way, the parks get developed and built while people are moving into the subdivisions. So the park developments are usually broken into two sets of costs. There's the basic services, which developers are responsible for paying, and these include things like the site work, the earthwork, soils, grass, and turf. So really what they're providing is a blank slate ready to go with turf and everything for the park to be created. Then there's the park services, which the township pays for, and it is funded through development charges. So current residents on their taxes are not paying for these parks. It's paid for through the development charges collected by the new subdivision. And these include items such as playgrounds, pavilions, pathways, landscape, seating areas, and things that you see in above the grass in most parks. For this project, the developers have added some enhancements to the park at their own costs. And you'll see those listed as I go through here, I'm going to point some of these out, but specifically they're talking about some enhanced entrance features, stone walls, an amphitheater, and these are all upgrades to a typical park development. So they've said we'll pay for those upgrades. And so we're going to have a little slightly higher level of park development going on in here at their cost, which is very good news to the township. So I'm going to go through some slides and explain the park details and then answer any questions that you might have about the park. So as I said, this is a joint project because this here, if you can see my cursor, is Haylock. This is Youngblood. This is the property line dividing the park, dividing the two subdivisions. And here you have what's going to be our new Harrison Park split right up the middle. You have the new trail system split right up the middle. And then there's another park over here called Haylock Park. And I'm going to show you each of these, but that is why this has had to be a coordinated effort with both developers. There's not a park on one side and a park on the other. They are shared spaces. So just to give you a highlight of the parks, there's Park 2, which I mentioned, which is called Haylock Park, Harrison Park, and this trail system will be a trail that goes all the way around the stormwater management pond, as well as have connections to these parks for people to access this trail. And you'll see some great features that they've added to this. So this is Haylock Park here, park number 2. And this is how we start the process is we have a concept design developed, which the township looks at and agrees to. This is a heavily forested natural area. So there's not a lot of, this would be more of a passive park for this area. And it focuses on the natural forest. So where you see this dark green area here, that is untouched forested area already in the lands before we took over this property. You'll see that there's asphalt pathways that will take people through the park from one end to the other. At this end here, there's a beautiful designed stone wall and some armor stone, which is going to be a rest area with some benches and a games table. So a kind of a conversation area. And then at this end is going to be an amphitheater. So this is a small little place where people can gather and listen to music, or kids can gather, put on a little stage show in their neighborhood. So this is something added, which we don't normally see in our parks. So this is the concept. And then over time, we get something like this, which is put into the agreement, which are all the details of each area of the park, because from concept to these basic detailed designs, we have to take into consideration all the topography, trees that have to stay. We try and preserve as many trees as we can, as well as add new trees, and make sure that the proper slope is on the pathways and drainage and things like that. So we get a much more detailed drawing here, which is what is used in the agreement. And they've provided a bit of a rendering here to show what the park will look like. When I talk about stone walls, they are using stones that they have removed from the South River Road construction and creating these natural stone walls throughout the subdivision. And this is one of the entry features, which you would then join onto the trail from here. And then this is the amphitheater that I mentioned, with some armor stone seating for people to sit and enjoy whatever they want at that feature. It won't exactly look like this. These are renderings. So these people don't come with the subdivision, but we hope the residents do enjoy it just the same. This is Harrison Park. So if you remember, that was that long, narrow park, which cuts right through the two subdivisions. So this is South River Road and a meandering path that takes you all the way to the active part of the park. Partway through this, there's a connection to the subdivision, a path work here, and just a little roundabout as a very nice pause or feature through the, otherwise it's a straight shoot on a skateboard all the way down. Anyway, so then you can continue walking along and you'll get to this area of what is more the active park within these areas. So this, I'm just looking at my notes. So in this active park, you're going to see things like a playground, a swing set, shade structure, and an area that's been flat with water service for a natural ice rink. The enhancements at this park included a more elaborate park entrance. So here at this entrance and this one, you'll see once again a stone wall, some landscaping, just to make these connections to the neighborhood and the trails a little more enhanced and great features. The developers have also requested that some of the wood that has been removed from the trees that were removed at this site to be used to build the shade structure. So that's actually more expensive probably to do that than to buy an off-the-shelf pavilion or shade structure. So they're taking that as extra cost and investing in that piece as well. The playground that they're hoping to install will be more of a natural environment playground, which also increases the cost of the playground. So the township will put in their portion of what they would normally pay for a playground, and the developers will have those enhanced costs as well. So as this was the concept we approved, and then they get into, once again, what I mentioned are the detailed drawings, which show everything from, like, we had to put in some catch basins for drainage and keep this tree if you can. So all of those kinds of conversations have gone on in great detail with our team, which is M.Tucker, Madeline, who's our landscape architect and urban forester, and myself. And I think we're really pleased with this sign, the way this is coming. So this is their architectural rendering, and it's a concept. So you can see this was done before they got into more of their details, but you can sort of see they're looking at a more natural looking playground. They may be able to put some ground features, but we're looking more at rocks just to keep the wood off the ground, a pavilion, and there should also be a swing set here, which is missing, but all of this will be in that park. So I'm going to stop sharing, or I guess I'll leave them up in case there are any questions, but I wanted to share with you, this is the park plan. We're going to be taking this to council. So if there are any comments or suggestions or thoughts from CSAC, I know that council will like to hear this. The timing for these installations will be 2002 and or 2003, just with the way the subdivisions come online and the timing of that. They're trying to get these built as soon as possible. They'd ideally like to do all the parks at the same time. But this is what we're looking at. And I'm just, are there any questions really? We'll take this to council. Hopefully they'll sign off on the park development agreement, which is a very long-winded document, which outlines everybody's costs, how that will be paid for over time, and the details of the park and who's responsible for what. But I wanted to bring this to CSAC today just to highlight what's going on at the Haylock Youngblood and hear if there's any comments or suggestions. So Brian, I'm going to turn this back over to you if there's anything. Otherwise, I will just take this presentation to council.
Pat, can you just tell me, is this what's called South River?
No.
That's the name of that's...
Well, I guess it's gone through many names. But Dorothy, you're nodding your head, so you explain it. This probably at one time was called South River.
Well, they have an office located down on Mill Street to go in to review this subdivision, and it's called South River. So there is that connection for sure.
Right. Okay, because I drive by it all the time on my way to do various things in Elora. I usually go that way. So, okay, that's great. Listen, does anyone else have any? Thanks, Pat. That's great. The graphics are really interesting. Anyone have any comments or thoughts?
I just want to add, we're working with the group as well. We're going to be setting up a meeting, hopefully the end of the month. They've uncovered an enormous amount of stonework from this site, and they want to host a stone festival. So I'm trying to get the details of that, what they do, but they've sent me pictures of the amount of stonework that's come out of this site, and it's unbelievable. So I'm not surprised that they're doing a lot of their entryways with stone because they've got so much of it. So I'm looking forward to setting up that meeting with them and bringing more information back to this group, because it's a pretty cool idea what they want to present. So more to follow.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of dry stone, which is an interesting and very popular and not cheap way to build stone walls. So anyway, it looks pretty nice from what I've seen driving along there.
It's very labor intensive, and it is a skill to build these walls that I believe they're from Scotland and Ireland and England, where these stone walls kind of originated, and they've done a great job to bring them here for this subdivision.
Right. There are a couple of other houses on the South River Road that have dry stone fences further along, closer to Fergus. Any thoughts or comments before we move on?
I just had a question. Does it tie right into the Trestle Bridge Trail that's along there? It looked like from the drawings it was going to butt up to that.
Matt, you want to answer that?
Yes, yeah, it does, Dean.
No, okay.
That was the thought. So yeah, it'd be just another connecting link for people to use the trail and also to get through the subdivision.
Very good.
Great.
I think it looks great.
Really, really important to take advantage of all our trailways and link them as much as we can. So good on them. Okay, is this a good time to move on then? Nothing further?
Yep, thank you. I'll take back to council that there was support from CSAC for these drawings and designs. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Pat. Turning to Dorothy, we're getting an update on the community impact grants.
Yes, thanks, Brian. I did not take a report to council in December about the applications and your recommendations. That meeting had 18 delegations, so it was recommended I wait and bring it in January, which is what I'm doing. But I did want to share with the group, in case you're wondering, when you see the minutes of that meeting or something, the Fergus Scottish Festival has pulled their application from the community impact round. They want to focus on building a better application and submitting it under the OLG granting application. So I just wanted to let you know, in case you see the results that come out of that council meeting, that Scottish Festival has pulled that application. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. Now we move along to Matt, and you're going to talk about, well, here we go again. Ontario's modified step 2 in the roadmap to reopen. Are we talking about reopening already?
Oh gosh, yeah, it's Groundhog Day all over again. Well, attached to the agenda, we've got there's 2 documents. One is the long-winded regulations that seem to change every time, every month or so, but it's a moving document. It's always changing, and I know we always have a hard time trying to figure out what they're actually saying. It's never black and white, which creates a bit of a challenge. An easier document this time around is the summary, also attached to the agenda. So it's actually a better read. It makes it easier for people just to go through and get the gist of what's going on. All in all, our parks and rec facilities, indoor facilities, are pretty much closed down right now until the 29th. So where does that left us? It basically, we had to issue our students and our part-time staff letters. So we had to lay them off, unfortunately. And what staff do remain are full-time staff and some full-time contract staff as well, which kind of leaves us short because we're prepping to open again. So it's still there's a lot of work to go into that. We're working with the different user groups. We're working with not just our facilities, but just with the seniors, with the theater groups. So we're active, and usually, typically, the government doesn't give us too much time either to prepare. So we have to be ready and ready to go. So just to give you an idea, our facility is open right now just for the clinic, and we also have our washrooms open. So we have the tourism office washrooms and Bissell and Elora. And in Fergus, we have the Wayscale washrooms in Forfar, just, to help the dog walkers and walkers using our trails and our parks. Our staff are very busy right now. Our full-time staff are really trying to push and help the volunteers get the outdoor rinks going. A bit of a setback. We don't live in Wingham, so we don't have snow like Pat does. So it is a little difficult to get the ice rinks going because we really need a snow base. So a place like Southridge, where it's an open field, the snow is it's not sticking as well as we would like. So it's hard to create a base. But a couple places that we have been able to start is the Elora Arena. It's looking pretty good, and fingers crossed that we might have something ready to go for the weekend. And we've got Bellwood, the Bellwood Lions. They've done great work out there as well. So I'm hoping by next week, I'm hoping to have 3 to 4 ice rinks ready to go in Center Wellington. So I can't say enough about our volunteers. They're amazing. They're working with us, and we're trying to help them out the best we can as well. So with that, we've been really trying to push the rinks that do have volunteers. That's what we're really focusing on. So when we have to go back and work in the arenas, those rinks will be set up and maintained by volunteers. So that's sort of where it's at. We're still doing garbage pickup out in the parks. There's always seems to be a lot of garbage out there. So that really, fingers crossed that we can open up again. It's nice to see our facilities open. I always look, just seeing some of our people coming in to use the pool, where people using the pool were using it all the time. They were off for quite some time, and now those same people are coming in with a cane or a walker. So, it really shows that the importance of our rec facilities for our community. So that's all I have on this area. Does anybody have any questions at all?
Neil?
Yeah, I don't have a question, Matt, but for Pat and Matt and Dorothy, I got a lovely email sent to me the other day, just complimenting and thanking the staff for the hard work that they're doing on the rinks. I guess we must have had somebody down in Jim Ty Ball Diamonds working away at it. So these residents are down there, and one of them sent me a wonderful email. She said, I don't know who to send it to, and Pat, I'll forward it to you tomorrow. Just so thankful and grateful that you guys are doing this, because she remembers last year. She doesn't use the rink. She goes out for a walk, and she just loves to see the kids skating and playing outside. And she knows it doesn't happen organically. It's she sees the work you guys are putting into it, and she's thankful for it. And I had a mother call me today, and she was looking forward to it happening. She can see things going on in the Bellwood area. She knows that, you know, you've got to wait for the good weather, but her kids are getting excited, and I think she's getting really excited because she can send the kids out there to play. And I'm sure everybody's getting a bit of cabin fever, but people are noticing the work you guys are putting in, and they wanted me to make sure I said thank you to you. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Neil.
Could I just ask, Matt, is the Bissell Park pad, is it got ice?
Yes, it started up. So I should mention, we've got in total across Center Wellington, we're working on 10 different ice rinks. So some are small neighborhood ones to bigger community ones. So that's to give you an idea, we've got 1 in Bellwood, 4 in Fergus, and 5 in Elora. So those, and if you know what, I can break them down for you just so you guys know. So obviously by the Bellwood Diamond, we've got Ryan Park, which is at the north end of Fergus, just sort of down by the nursery. That basically is, there's a new neighborhood group wanting to jump on that. We got Ty Diamond. Last year that was run by our staff, but we've got volunteers there this year, so that is amazing. We have State Park. It's just a small little skating rink, just at the corner of the accessible playground. And our staff are hoping once we get enough snow to start up another one up at the Sportsplex. And in Elora, we've got the ECC. We've got a group of volunteers there and our staff working on that one. Bissell Park, we've Dave Elves again. He's got a crew, and they started that I believe yesterday. Southridge, there's a volunteer group eager to get going, and that's we're hoping for a bit more snow. Elora Meadows, we've got a volunteer group that they've fundraised, and last year went door to door getting donations, and they've got it tarped. They've got a little board system. Just want to mention too, where I've been working, I was hoping to have a water system put in place into the park. I was hoping to have it done at the end of December. It just didn't materialize. So I'm working with infrastructure to try and get a water service in there. Right now, the community group is working with the fire department bringing in water. This neighborhood last year, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but they had access to big drums that would go in the back of pickup trucks, and they had I think there was about 6 of them, and I met them down at the Elora Arena, and they filled these trucks up with water, and it was like an assembly line. They were going like crazy. So it's nice that we can bring that tanker in just to get them rolling, which is beneficial. And the last one is Dermy Park, which is up in the Keating subdivision. So that's the list. So does anybody have any questions on those locations?
Sorry to interrupt you, Matt, just so we're clear. So the Bissell Park one is not ready to skate on yet. We're just, we're days away from that. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I would think any of our ice rinks, there may be a few ready for this weekend, but I would err on the side of caution that I would wait till probably next week, just depending on weather. That's the big thing.
Good stuff. Thanks, Matt. That's a nice optimistic report. That's something that can be done during this current COVID regime. Sure. So don't go away, because you're going to tell us a bit about the health unit clinics for vaccines.
Yes, yeah, they're ramping up. It's been busy. We're using the full hall right now. There's they're trying to run through about 500 people during the clinics. It's not every day at the Sportsplex. It's typically for to 5 times a week. I know just yesterday with the clinic, they were looking for walk-ins as well. They're pretty optimistic, but great people to work with. They've added 4 more tables just to help accommodate walk-ins and just trying to keep the flow going through. But I just want to give a shout out to them. They've been doing at this for quite some time, and day in and day out doing the same thing. And you can really tell talking with them that they are starting to get tired, but they're always in good spirits, which they're just amazing people. So that's my update there.
Great. Well, that's highly relevant stuff. Thanks so much.
Sorry, Brian. I should mention too. Pat and I are working with the health unit just on a rental agreement as well moving forward. I know last year we were looking at government grants and that to help with the rentals. Moving forward, we're working on a rental agreement for them to use the hall.
Okay, look forward to hearing more about that in the future. I don't know if Kurt, if you want to mention or have anything you want to say about the indoor turf facility. And it's
what I want to say is I really wish we could actually get closer to even having a chance to talk about this, but we keep getting further away. So that's all I have to say about that.
Well, we live in hope.
We're
Thanks,
with you, Kurt. We're with you. Who
in
would have expected we would
time.
be here at the beginning of 2022? I remember in the summer, we're going to have such a great start to 2022.
Yeah, I think we were anticipating actually meeting in person at one along the way. Anyway,
I'm still sitting here at my school because we had a meeting to try and translate some of the information from today and get ready for Monday.
I just thought you were in detention.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like
but I'm sure we all wish you good luck on Monday, Kurt.
that. Yep.
Neil, unless there's anything else relating to that, Neil, would you like to give us a council report?
Sure,
What
I'll
have you
give you a
guys been
council
up to?
update. But Matt, first I want to just point out that you recognize the room he's in as a detention room. So that says a lot about your school years. The rumors I hear in town are true.
That didn't go to that school.
Don't try to cover for him. It's a
Thanks,
detention
Brian.
hall. He knows what it is. I recognized it right off the bat too, man. I spent a lot of time in those rooms. Council, we had a very busy council meeting. As Dorothy pointed out, she was kind enough to pull her report so we could get through the meeting. We had 18 delegations, which took over 2 hours to get through, all related to a notice of motion that was put in by Councillor Van Leeuwen to overturn the township vaccine policy. And that motion was defeated 4-3. So we still have our vaccination policy. And, the good news about the vaccination policy is 99.991% of our staff are vaccinated. They were for this. They went and they got vaccinated. So we didn't have an appetite to overturn that. We didn't have any legal grounds to overturn it either. So, but it took up a lot of the time in that meeting. And fortunately, the agenda was well put together and we did manage to pass the most important job that we have as council, and that was the budget for 2022. So that has been passed, and the township is moving forward with a lot of projects, and some have been put on hold. But it's a good budget. I think it came in at 2.16% for a tax increase. We never like tax increases, but they are a way of life, especially when you're focusing on asset management like the township of Center Wellington is. We have a lot of infrastructure, and those of you who are in Elora probably understand this better now, because I noticed over the holidays we had several water main breaks over there, and that's the infrastructure that needs to be replaced, and that's why we need to build up reserves. So the asset management plan focuses on that, and those are the things that we're going to be fixing moving forward. So from that standpoint, it was a very good budget, and we're continuing to move in the right direction. So, and I look forward to the next council meeting looking at this park system again. I think the Haylock and Youngblood subdivisions, I think, that's a real win for us because there was a lot of citizen engagement in that. And people always, you kind of roll your eyes, people say, when citizens get up in arms about a subdivision. But the group that got involved in the Haylock and Storybrooke subdivision, they pushed for a lot of really good things. And that subdivision, I think, is one of the best designed subdivisions that we have in this community. And I'm really thrilled with it from a housing and a parking standpoint. But I'm over the moon because I've seen these drawings before, and I've talked to the developer because they reached out to me, and the park system that they're putting together there, Pat, I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this in any of the other subdivisions, but they cared and they really put some time and thought into it and extra expense. And I can't wait to see it because I want to be able to hold it up as a crown jewel in this township and say to other developers, this is what you're going to do, or don't bother coming to town. Because I think that's a great system that links us up to our trails, and they're wonderful parks that utilize materials that they're taking out of the ground. The stone, the trees, wood and stone benches, and just a beautiful park system. So I can't wait to get that before council and let them get moving on that. So, and then of course we want to see the community grants that this committee has approved so we can get that money out there. So I'm bolstered with the new year, and I want to thank Pat and Dorothy again and Matt for and all the hard work you guys are doing, particularly with public health, because I think cooperating with them and getting the clinics up and running as quickly as we did has put this community in good standing as far as COVID goes. So thank you everybody for your hard work, and I look forward to 2022 being a great year.
Great, thanks, Neil. Here on all that. Not on the agenda, but just a quick note on the Healthy Growth Committee. We didn't have a meeting today. We're meeting with the county and their housing people on February 2nd. So I'll have an update at the next meeting. For the staff updates, we start with the Parks and Facilities update. Is there anything you want to add to what's already been said?
Not much. Maybe just one thing, Brian. Just working on a tender for the tennis courts at the Sportsplex. So we'll see a tender get out probably next week, I'm hoping so. And we're hoping to do some reconstruction or resurfacing, early spring on those courts before tennis starts up.
Wow, that's great. That it?
That's all I have today.
Okay, Dorothy, cultural and special events update.
Yes, thanks, Brian. Just a couple of things. I just want to let this group know that we are continuing on with some work with the RTO4. That was supposed to have ended by now, but because of COVID, we keep extending it. So we had a meeting today actually to go over some projects we're working on for 2022, which is great. I just want to let this group know that even though where we are today, we do have our events booking with us this year, which everyone's kind of remaining positive and hope we're going to continue that way. But we do have quite a few events booked in our facilities right now, which is a good thing. So let's hope it stays. As you know, with the lockdown, whatever you want to call this again, our theater is closed as well as our senior center. So what we're doing there is the theater hasn't been quite impacted by this closure right now. Their next show is January the 29th. So fingers crossed that show is going to go through. But the senior center, we did have a lot of programming scheduled, in-person programming. We were ramping up to a full schedule, and we had to pivot again and drop them all. And now we've increased all our virtual programming. So that's what our staff are busy doing. Just a whole full gamut of virtual programming, which is very well attended. So it's keeping our seniors engaged for sure. And they're going to go probably till mid-February. We kind of have to put some time blocks on our programming, and hopefully by the mid-February, we'll be ready to be back in person again. So I think that's all I had for now, Brian.
Okay, thank you, as always. Departmental and capital projects.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to report. Obviously, the two reports going to council will be the Haylock Youngblood and the in January, and the community impact grants. Another report going to council will be the applications for the OLG funding. There's just over $60,000 to allocate. So if you're remembering, we went back and forth as to CSAC's involvement in that, and at this point, it is still going to go directly to council, but we're going to work this year on a process for applications and application review. But it's going straight to council this year, so those projects are in the hopper for a report to council this January. And I just wanted to share that, and maybe Matt wants to talk about this, but there's we were disappointed. We had hoped that Forfar Park would be completed before the fall, and they ran into some soil issues, some wet soil. So it looks like a giant excavated ground there, but we are encouraged that the contractor will be back in the spring, and we should be able to get that all up and built. It was just delayed due to unforeseen circumstances with the soil being quite wet. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Matt, but otherwise it'll get completed in the spring.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to share. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was really wet fall, and I think what they were hoping to do, if the ground hardens up, they might. Well, they were hoping to get the pavilion put in place, the footings for it anyway, but I don't think that's going to happen until the spring now as well.
Matt, will there be a remedial process? I would assume ground dewatering would be a little on the high side, but some granular material or something like that added?
Yeah, once we're going to see how things dry out first, and there will be some material brought in, but we didn't want to bring that material in until things dried up.
Yeah, just to add, it should be able to naturally dry out. It was just a bad fall. But we're gonna hopefully get that all cleared up. It didn't call for a bunch of fill, so we're just working with the contractor on that item, but hopefully we've had another geotechnical report done on the soil and things like that, so we're just working through the details.
Great. Well, I'm sure it'll all turn out well in the end. That's all we have on the agenda. Neil, you want to add something or throw in something else?
Yeah, I want to apologize to our new CAO. I missed making the announcement to this committee. Andy Goldie is officially retired now, and we did hire a new CAO, and we, at our last meeting, we passed the budget, and then we passed the bylaw making Dan Wilson the CAO of the Township of Center Wellington. And so I just want to let everybody in the committee know that Dan is our former Chief Financial Officer. He's very, very experienced at this, and he was by far the best candidate, and we are thrilled to have him as our new CAO, and we look forward to where Center Wellington can go under his guidance.
Lovely. Good choice. I knew his father when he had the similar position in a much smaller community. Pat?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that it's our intent in March to bring forward a report on the ECC, and Dan will join us for that meeting to introduce himself to this group at that time. But he wants to be present for that presentation as well. So I just wanted to let you know that he is thinking of you, but that was sort of the best timing for him to come to a meeting.
Great. Sounds good. Jan?
Yeah, just one question, and I'm assuming it's been delayed potentially because of COVID, where the status of the neighborhood grant program is, or the community neighborhood grant application process.
I can answer that, Brian. It's not delayed. Kendra Martin, our communications person, put out an ad to the community to generate some ideas for a name for this grant. She has the names come in, but we couldn't, for a delay, we weren't able to bring it tonight. So we're just trying to figure out what to do with that. I don't know if maybe now staff may choose a name and we'll bring it back in February, or we'll bring the list of names and have this group review them. She's trying to figure out how she's going to do it, but her goal is she wants to implement it for March. Okay. Perfect.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Lovely. Thanks, Dorothy, for filling us in on that. Anyone else have anything they want to ask, say? Okay, I'm seeing nothing, so I guess that brings us to the point at which we'll adjourn the meeting. And after all this time, I still can't remember whether we have to have a motion to do that or if we just do it by consensus. So I turn it over to Devlin to advise.
Just by consensus, as long as nobody has a problem with having supper like Dorothy.
Me too. Okay, well, I'm assuming, unless I hear otherwise, that we can bring the meeting to an end. Happy New Year, everyone. Let's have a great year, and hoping for better things. But anyway, we'll be there riding this railroad no matter what happens. So anyway, thanks everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Good night.
February 2. Cheers.